Hey everyone, it's Mike with It's Pittsfield Tonight. It is Thursday, March 12th, and I'm going to jump right into it. So this video is going to be about a couple topics we've been discussing the past few days on the page, which are potholes in the city and North Street, and unfortunately some businesses we lost. So those are the two big things that are being discussed right now. So we'll start with the potholes. So I know quite a few of you saw some of the videos I put up. The first one I put up was some videos that showed 4 different locations. It showed Park Square, East Street, Hubbard Ave, and Center Street. Now, the day I put that video up, the next day, city workers from DPW did do some patching at Park Square. It's already still kind of, because of the weather. They did some patching under the bridge at Hubbard, but again, that was, within hours that already started coming out because you had so much water under there. Wasn't sure how they were going to do that. I did put a post up with a photo of the big one that was at the corner or the intersection of Linden and Onoda, because I personally witnessed a couple cars become victims of that. I watched one that blew a tire out while I was filming, and another one that it sounded like they busted a tie rod. But I did get quite a few messages from people also that did damage to their vehicle there. So they did patch that one. I think, and then there was a couple people, I'll mention this, that commented or sent a message saying, how can you just blame this on this winter? And that's not what I did. On that post, I specifically put in the headline, after the winter we've had, and which we're still having, it's still winter. I said, be prepared for one of the worst pothole seasons that we've seen in quite some time. And I still believe that. In no way was I saying that the road conditions and the quality of all the roads is solely because of this winter. We all know that Pittsfield roads have been a big issue for quite a few years now. And it seems like for whatever reason, we have fallen behind drastically. This year, because of the winter we had, it started early compared to where it's been the past few years. It started getting very cold going back to October, early November. And it's been a long, cold winter, and we're not out of the woods yet. We just had a couple really nice days in the 60s and I think 70s. One day, I think we hit low 70s. That's going to make things that much worse because you have that much runoff plus all the rain we're having. And then going into next week, there's 1 or 2 days there with a low coming close to 10 degrees. So we still have some days of below freezing, and that water gets down in the ground and then refreezes. I mean, that's what creates potholes. And that's why springtime, as the thaw happens, you see roads start to deteriorate and fall apart. And we've had several roads here that, like I said, have been in deplorable condition for a while. And I think due to this weather, this winter, we're going to see them get really bad. East Street is a disaster. Seymour and Center Street is the worst I've seen them ever. I've never seen Seymour and Center this bad. Crane Ave is really bad. Hubbard Ave, that bridge, something's got to be done. It really does. There needs to be plates put under there or something. I suggested, that I think it should be reduced to 1 lane. And the reason I said that, I know a couple people commented, you can easily fit 2 cars through there. I know you can. I've driven under that hundreds and hundreds of times with another vehicle passing me. But with the condition of that road, and it's falling apart, as most of you know. Most people who go under there try to veer towards closer to the middle, where it's not as bad as it is right up against that one wall. And you see a lot of vehicles that are stopping to let traffic go through, and then they go through. Because of that, I think before you start seeing people rear-ending each other there because they're taking it upon themselves to stop. Put a stop sign there on each side and close it down to one lane, because the safest passage through there is in the center, and it's still very bad. And like I said, the city did go out and put some cold patch in there or some patch in there, but it really didn't. There's not much you can do with that. That road needs to be redone. And like I said, maybe some steel plates or something under there right now, but it is horrendous. And that's going to be a big issue. And that was an issue last year and the year before. That shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. So anyway, I think this year we're going to be talking a lot about potholes, a lot, because of the condition of so many roads. And I get why people get angry. Vehicles are not cheap. And when you do damage to your vehicle, it's frustrating, especially when we're in an area and in a state that you have high excise tax and you have inspection stickers you have to pay for and all the things you have to do to put your car on the road. And then you go out on the roads and you're really chancing it at some of these locations. And sometimes it's deceiving at night, especially when you have rain. You might not see the potholes as bad as they are, and you hit them and boom, boom, next thing you know, you break something on your car. And that's common. So first thing, everyone needs to slow down. That's something I'm going to talk about in a totally separate video, but man, it is crazy out there on Pittsfield streets and roads. I mean, it's crazy. I see a lot of stuff every day that I'll get into that in another video. But slow down, pay attention, and use the PitSmart app. Contact your city councilors. And do it civilly, but I do understand why people are upset. I totally get that. But I think drawing attention to it the right way by reporting it through the website, by contacting your city councilors, that's going to be the best way to address these. You bring as much attention to it as possible till we do something about it. We need to prioritize our roads. It's a huge issue. So yeah. And to those of you that suggested that I was just blaming it all on this winter, of course that's not the case. Of course this has been an ongoing problem, but I'm trying to be positive about it. We have our Department of Public Works, we have some great employees there, and we really do. And they are working on a limited staff. We're down low. The job does not pay that much. So to get qualified people that are willing to stay there for a lot less money than they can go make working for another construction company, that's got to be very difficult. And I know some of the employees there that I've been in contact with, they work there and they work for the city because they really want to make a difference for the community. They want to be part of the community. And that's the truth, and we have employees there that do care. But again, do we know? I think what needs to be discussed through the council and through City Hall and with the mayor and with the commissioner of public services, Ricardo Morales, is do they have the equipment they need? Do they have the resources they need? Do they have the staff they need? Is the city able to catch up on this? And again, because go down Seymour and Center Street and it's horrendous. You're literally, every time you go up and down those streets, you're risking damaging your vehicle. So it is serious. So anyway, be civil about it, but it does need to be addressed. And I think, that's why I put those videos out and I put those photos out. It's not to try to shame the city or anything like that. It's to draw attention to it. And it could very well be a coincidence that the day after I put the last set of video out, or that last video out with those 4 locations, that city crews were at them the next day. It might just be a coincidence, or it might be helping draw public attention to it and addressing it. So that's why I also encourage all of you to use the PitSmart app and to contact your city councilors. North Street, that's going to be one, as I've mentioned several times, we're going to be talking about this year. They're looking at another layout for North Street. I hope we get that right. It's, housing is something at the last city council meeting was talked about Allegroni taking over the Berkshire Bank building. And that's going to be apartments, I guess. And that is good. It is kind of crazy that all of our rentals are ending up in the hands of corporations and investors. That the scope of things has definitely changed in the city from where it was when I came out of high school. Rentals, most of them, you would be dealing with the owner of a house. And now you have a handful of these companies and corporations that have bought up so much. That's something to pay attention to, because that's how market rate gets set. That's how all that happens. But I watched the council meeting. Most of the councilors were all in favor of Allegroni taking that over. They got a TIF on that, a 10-year TIF that I think is going to be somewhere around $400,000 to $500,000. And there's grant money and state money involved for them to develop that into housing. I'd like to, see what kind of prices we're talking about. But again, I think North Street itself really needs to be looked at as what the layout, what the design is. Because I mentioned this in the last video, when most cities I've been to, downtown districts have areas that are residential, areas that are shopping and dining, areas that are government. And ours is all mashed together, different things in different spots. And that can be confusing and maybe not all that great. I pictured myself, I don't know, maybe it's going to be soundproofed, but to have an apartment at the old bank building there where Allegroni is redoing it, you're right near like the police department. You're right off North Street where you're going to hear fire trucks, you're going to hear police sirens all night, all day. I don't know, maybe it'll be soundproofed and won't be that bad. But again, more housing is definitely a good thing. There's no doubt about that. But I think we really need to look at how we're doing things here and why all our rentals are in the hands of just a few now. How did we get there? There's a lot to discuss about that. And, I don't have enough information to completely understand the whole scenario, but that's something to talk about, and something to talk about the layout of North Street, because North Street is being converted to a lot of residential now. You're going to have that building as residential. You're going to have the Wright building. When that's finished, that'll be residential, and I think some retail or something below it, dining, retail, something, but that'll be residential. You have the former White Terrace that is redone, and that's residential. So I think we need to understand what the layout is, what we want to see of our downtown district. Do we want to see shopping? Do we want to see dining? Do we want to see entertainment and nightlife? I know a lot of people say, well, it's Amazon, or it's this, or it's that. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. Malls nationwide are becoming a trendy, cool thing again. Getting out and shopping, and definitely getting out for entertainment and nightlife and dining, that's not going away. People don't want to just shell up in their houses. The demographics of the city have changed here. We're an older community and getting older, and we see that as our enrollment in our public school systems keeps dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping every year, to where we're talking about closing and consolidating schools again. And younger families are just not here. You don't have that. When I was a kid, it seemed like every other house in my neighborhood had other kids in it. Neighborhoods were full of kids riding bikes and playing, and we're an older community now. We have a median age of mid-40s, slowly creeping up on 50. We're one of the older communities in the state. and one of the poorest. So there's a lot to discuss, with that. But I know the city had a survey out for North Street, and when you're talking bike lanes and how we're doing all this, I think zoning needs to be discussed. I think grants that are handed out to businesses, how is that done? Are these businesses thoroughly vetted? Is a business plan put forth and it's looked at by the city, by professionals who say, okay, what is your 3-year outlook or 5-year outlook, whatever it is that they would want to require? And are the conditions there for these business owners to succeed? So we're not just giving money to something that's, as soon as the grant money runs out, the business is gone, because that's an issue. And that's something we've seen with some. And then again, when you're talking bike lanes and people living on North Street, right? So that means you want more pedestrian traffic. Well, you gotta have policing on North Street. You have to start enforcing jaywalking. You have to start enforcing that people can't ride bikes on the sidewalk. All those things have to be addressed. There has to be a large plan put into place of how we're going to make this a destination, how we're going to make it appealing for people to live there and want to be there. And there's a lot to discuss with that. So I hope the whole conversation is discussed, not just, hey, somebody else is going to be putting some apartments there, because it needs to be a bigger discussion than that. But as far as losing businesses, North Street has been taking a hit. The past month, we lost Marketplace, we lost Marie's, we lost Thistle and Thorn, and I think there's more coming. I hate to say that, but I do. We really need to look at what we're doing there. People don't go down North Street as much as they used to because they're just angry. People go where it's fun to be, right? People go where there's an appeal to be there. And there has to be common ground here. The city really needs to look at the layout, the planning, what we see as the future. That's your downtown strip in a tiny little community like Pittsfield, and we're a very small city of 40,000 people. You need to look at that downtown strip as one of the most important places in the city, because that's one of the first things people see that come into our community. And it's a reflection, I've said this in the last couple videos, of the rest of the city. So I will be reaching out to Mayor Marchetti, and I will be reaching out to our new Pittsfield Police Chief, Mark Maddalena, to see if I can get an interview with Chief Maddalena. And I will be reaching out to the Commissioner of Public Services, Ricardo Morales, and see if we can talk about roads and some of the things in the future for those projects. Because another one to talk about is Dan Casey, the Causeway, which is closed right now due to flooding. And that's been, I don't know how it made it this far. I mean, it's been reduced to one lane for a while. It's falling apart. It's falling into the lake. That's something that really does need to be addressed soon, a lot sooner than later. That's been sitting for a long time. So anyway, there's all that. So I will be reaching out to all of them. Coming up, the Rotary Club auction, March 28th. Every year I do a big push and promo for that. The Rotary Club is a great local philanthropic organization that does a ton of work for nonprofits, for causes and charities, and a lot of different things. I did a video with the vice president of the Rotary Club and the chairman of the Rotary Club auction, Jim Bronson, along with the executive director of the Berkshire Humane Society, and he's also a Rotarian, talking about this year's auction, how it will be benefiting the Humane Society and a lot of other things. The auction takes place this year, March 28th, which is a Saturday at Berkshire Hills Country Club. Those auctions are a blast. There's so many cool things you can bid on. Auctions are just fun anyways, throwing up your little number card and bidding and seeing what you can get. And they have everything you can think of from local businesses to vacations and trips and cruises. There's so many different cool things. Literally from power tools to a cruise. They have everything. Dining, restaurants, everything you can think of. And they're a lot of fun, and it helps support some great things. And I had a lot of fun doing that interview at the Humane Society. I love animals a lot, and it was fun being there and seeing everything from a lot of cool little rats that they just rescued to all their cats and dogs and bunnies and everything they have. They rescue so much stuff there. And the executive director, John Peralt, talked a lot about all their services and all the different things that the Berkshire Humane Society does and why they're so important. So that interview will be coming up Saturday morning. I'll be putting that out. And, of course, we talk about the auction and how you can get involved. You can go to PittsfieldRotaryAuction.com and get free tickets to that. That's a $50 value. You can download them digitally right from the website, or you can, if you know a Rotarian, you can contact any member of the Rotary Club and get complimentary tickets right now to be able to attend. So I'll put those links up here. I also have a video coming up that I've been waiting to do with Melissa Fawcett, who is the CEO of Ready, Set, Play, located in Allendale. And that I'll be putting out sometime early to mid next week. I've done a bunch of stuff with Melissa at Ready, Set, Learn Preschool, the two campuses they have in Pittsfield on Wendell and on Dalton Ave. And I'll probably be doing another follow-up with her on that, but the Ready, Set, Play one is coming up. Of course, Steve Ray at 413 Real Estate. 413 Real Estate sponsors those driving videos that so many of you like and watch. I'm very grateful for that. And I'll be doing a bunch more with them, and also an upcoming video now that we're coming into the spring season where some of you are selling your house, some of you are looking to buy another house in the area. So going over all those things and where the market is at, where we're at. So I'll be having that discussion with Steve and a bunch more. So anyway, hopefully that everyone pays attention on the roads out there to the pothole situation. Slow down, be careful. I get how horrible it is. And go to the app, the PitSmart app on the website, and put in a complaint. Contact your city councilor. Pay attention to that stuff. Your city government is there to represent you, and use it. And use it the right way. You know, doing this on social media is one thing, but following through can make a huge difference. The more people get involved in local government, the better the community will be. And I'll be doing a video on that also coming up. Maybe reach out to two of our newest counselors, Kathy Moody, the Ward 7 counselor, and Cam Cunningham, the Ward 2 counselor. So, all right, that is it for now. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I'll catch you all in the next day or two.